Hello and welcome to another episode of Utopia Planitia. I'm Teacher Kirby, and with us today we have Ain. Say hi, Ain.
Mm.
Mm,
Hi, Ain.
okay.
Mm. Yeah.
Ain had some car trouble and was here a little late, but that's okay. Got here, and that's what we want. And then we have just Steve.
Good morning. Ain gets to take last week off. Ed's off this week. I'm just going to go ahead and call it now. I'm taking next week off.
Yeah, sure, whatever. You'll be here.
So
We'll
called
drag
it.
you in by the ear.
We'll drag him by the ear like a big Ferengi.
Mm-hmm.
Like they do to Quark all the time. In Deep Space Nine. Come on! Anyway. And Ed, unfortunately, is having
Is a traitor.
internet problems. Is a traitor?
He's
What
a
are you
traitor.
talking about? He's having internet
Never.
problems. Go ahead.
No, he's a traitor.
Hey, man.
Abandoning me.
He's playing the SNR drinking game. He logs on and he gets SNR'd and then he has to drink and then he gets SNR'd again and then he has to take another shot. I mean, the man's like falling down drunk at this point. Anyway. Yeah, so Ed is currently playing the SNR drinking game and, it's just in no condition. And neither is his internet in any condition to actually get him onto the show. Don't know why, but, that's the way it works. So, anyway, so here we are with me, Ain, and Steve. Alright, so we have our build today, and it is a Fleet Temporal Cruiser. Alright, so you guys have it up, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So, he wanted to go with Polarons.
Very nice.
They're very polarizing.
Yes, they are very polarizing. And they are Mark 14, at least very rare. So this is good. Mark 14 is really what matters. You can get, even at very rare, you can get an extra, 70% out of them, if I remember the math rightly. Versus trying to get them up to very rare or ultra rare. So for weapons, the important thing is the mark, not so much the rarity. So if you can get it to Mark 14, don't worry about the rarity until you can get it. That's fine. Mark 14 is what's important, yes?
Indeed.
Basically.
Yeah. Yep. Alright, and then we have the Iconian set. Again, up to Mark 14, which is absolutely fine. So, yay! The biggest thing I'd say is getting that warp core up to ultra rare.
For the camp.
For
well, me personally, because you look at it, all this Polaron drain. I see. Personally, I would use the Terran Task Force set simply because it is good for survivability and it has a lot of drain and power transfer rate.
This
But
is
that's
true.
just me.
Yeah, but he wants to
This
do
is true.
DPS. Unfortunately, Iconian
Hey,
is the king.
Hey. I do over 100k with full Terran.
Well, that's you.
This is true.
This is on a scimitar, so.
Not everybody's an annoying scimitar pilot like you, so.
Oh, jeez. Alright, you two, back to your corners. No, he wants to do tanking with this build, and for tanking, Iconian set is one of the best you're gonna find. So, if not the best. So, I would stick with the Iconian core. And one of the things it seems like he's trying to do is disable his opponent with the drain. which is one way to do things. Just remember that when you use Polaron, it does drain from your opponent, but that drain does not come back to you.
Nope.
So that's an important thing to remember. Alright, so the draining is fine. It's okay. I'm okay with that. He's got the warp core up to ultra rare, so he has the amp. Alright, so now when I look at these devices, he's got the weapons battery and he's got the energy amplifier, both of which are fine, but I could see one of these going the way of the Dodo and replacing it with the can't speak today, with the reactive armor catalyst. That's what I
would
was
agree.
thinking.
I agree.
I'd personally drop the weapons battery, but
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Would you agree with that, Aim?
I agree with it.
Alright, so clear slot and put reactive. Reactive armor catalyst. Search. Okay. There we go. So reactive armor catalyst, that does count as, so if he's looking to help his power levels, which might be the reason he put those polarons on, that will, both the energy amplifier and reactive armor catalyst will interact with the duty officers he has, the maintenance engineers, that add an additional buff to the batteries. Both will give plus 15 to every power level. So, with those doffs, so that is a good thing to remember. Alright, so we have in the engineering consoles. Good God, my meds are
English.
messing with me today. Apparently not.
Do we need to reset you again?
We need to reset me again. Okay, so we have the plasmonic leech, which I don't have an issue with, obviously. Always a good thing for any build. We have the very rare assimilated module, the bioneural infusion circuits, and the tachyokinetic converter, and then we have the ultra rare conductive RCS with shield healing. Okay, so what are your thoughts?
No, let's Steve go first.
Okay.
I would say take out the my brain isn't working. Take out the Borg piece. Let's just say that.
The assimilated module.
Yeah, take out the assimilated module. I personally would replace that with an EPS flow regulator since he's running so many beams.
Yeah, that's
EPS
good.
is DPS.
Yep, that's what I was thinking as well. At least replace it with something.
I mean, I understand having the conductive RCS on it because, you know, he is using a battle cruiser and the turn rate's great. If there's a way he could possibly get a different mod onto it, that would be great. I mean, if you can't get EPS, which is like the king on that one, I understand it's expensive.
Always get EPG.
I think or EPG. For tanking purposes, though, even a resist all
Oh yeah.
as a
Yeah,
modifier
that's what
on
I
it
was thinking.
would be good. But I mean, Shield Heal's perfectly fine. If that's what he's got, then that's what I'd use. But yeah, definitely replace that assimilated module with the EPS flow.
The Resol for tanking, I would think the Resol would be better because, now here's the thing. he's got the shield heal, okay. But the thing is, especially when you're fighting the Borg, shields get drained or go down, and then what? You have to rely on your hull. So, putting the shield heal on there,
I'll be right back.
What's going to happen when the shields go down? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I know we bring up
Go ahead.
the whole shields with the Borg all the time. And the reason why we bring that up is because when you parse, you're parsing an ISA. So that's pretty much, if you're trying to test out your DPS, it's going to be ISA. You're going to get parsed in that. And shields are pretty much non-existent for the most part. So
All right, where were we?
Exactly. We were talking about why we recommend shield, or why we don't recommend shield. Why we
Batteries?
don't recommend shield. No, shield defense.
Oh yeah, because they don't matter against the Borg.
Exactly, they don't. I mean, I get why he's got the tachyokinetic. That's for the turn rate, because it's, not a great turn. It's a battle cruiser. Or it's it is a cruiser. It doesn't have all that great a turn. And he's trying to increase his crit severity. That's why he's got the bioneural infusion circuits. I can get that. So that's why he's got the conductive RCS combined with the tachyokinetic. I can get that. So I don't have a problem leaving the tachyokinetic. I don't have a problem leaving the bioneural infusion circuits. I don't even have a problem with the conductive RCS in general. But if you're going to do it, at least put something that's going to help you a little more, and that's going to be the Resol. The Resol is surprisingly cheap, actually, compared to something like EPG and stuff like that. So Mark 14 Epic is of course the end goal. So I did put that on there. Alright. Science console. Thoughts? I know we were discussing them.
Why? Why are they controlling us?
well, I understand, and this is right with our build from last week. That he wants to run a gravity well. He wants to pull everything from, off the map into his little
From
gravity well.
Neverwinter, right?
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, you don't really need all that Control X.
Right.
So I like the fact that they're amplifiers, because he's trying to do tanking, and and that's great. But yeah, I would probably. It seems like the meta right now is EP. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to save resources, he could keep the one that's already at Epic and just change out 2 of them to EPG. So that way, he'd have a little more control, and then he'd have some EPG. But
yeah, 'cause thankfully those science consoles are extraordinarily cheap.
yeah,
They are, and they're relatively cheap to upgrade as well. So.
but I would recommend changing all 3 out to EPG, because it gives him the option, if he wants to at some point, drop that gravity well since he's tanking and go with a feedback pulse.
Yeah. Which is what we're going to recommend later. And then, of course, the Polaron vulnerability locators. That's perfect. I wouldn't change those out. So, those are fine. Alright. Bridge officer. Okay, so I don't see a problem with the tactical. He's trying to draw a threat, so it's okay to be using attack pattern delta if everything's shooting at him and he's doubled up on it. So I'm okay with that. Oh, that engineering and science.
Yeah, the
Pardon
engineering,
me while I cry.
I would personally flip the emergency power to weapons 2 and the aux to SIF 2
I can see that.
and make it an emergency power to weapons 3 and an aux to SIF 1. I mean, he is an engineer, so he does have the extra heal from Miracle Worker.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. Now do remember that aux to SIF does give a resistance buff, and it has a very short cooldown. Aux to structural integrity. So that is one of the reasons that we recommend it for a tank. And then of course he has recursive sharing 3. Definitely that's fine. That's going to do a lot of damage for him, especially with the right team. Oh, that science.
Can I cry?
Okay,
Well, I mean,
good.
it's not really that bad, but obviously.
Oh, I have seen worse. This is true.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
put in the
I've seen
hazard
ones where
emitters
it's
too.
done nothing but science teams in a commander science slot.
Ah.
And those are the ones where I just cry.
Hey, some people like to overachieve, so.
Or the ones where it's like a tactical, or it's like a heavy tactical escort, and they have nothing but like particle gen abilities.
Oh.
Yet they never have any ops. It's just like, no.
Yep.
Please no.
Yes, I know. Alright, so we were talking earlier, if you're going to tank, it makes sense to have feedback pulse because everything's going to be shooting at you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
So I would put feedback pulse 2 and feedback pulse 1. That way you're going to have... Go ahead.
I said agree. Agree.
Yeah. Okay, that way you're going to have... Go ahead, Steve.
I don't think I would put 2 copies.
Why?
Specifically when you're running a parse in ISA, you're pretty much going to be activating your feedback pulse at the first group of nanite spheres that comes out.
Okay.
And then you're going to activate it again on the second group. And then you're just activating it as much as you can between the gate and the attack cube at the end. But, I mean, an additional heal from hazard emitters in that lieutenant spot would probably be beneficial to him.
It's a good point.
That's just my thoughts.
That is a good point. We could put 2 copies of hazard emitters. Give
Well, it
them
would only
another
be 1.
shit. Okay, and then leave the science team?
Yeah, leave the science
Just
team
as
1.
no shit on shields. What are your thoughts, Zane?
I have no qualms. I have
No
no
qualms
qualms
with
with
that.
what has been said.
That is a good point. Having that hazard emitters in and keeping the shield team. Shields do go down, but the science team, one of the things with it is it does give some cleansing for certain debuffs.
And everybody loves a good cleanse.
Yes. Everybody loves a good cleanse. And we know hazard emitters cleanses a lot of different things, including the plasma burn from Borg weapons. So that is always a nice thing to have.
Very nice.
Yes. Alright, and then of course, I have no problem with the Ensign engineering team. It does, if you're fighting Iconians, for example, it does clean out, it does cleanse some of the things from their probes, for example, that come after you and shut down subsystems and some of that. So, although with the Iconian set, the only ones you really have to worry about are the auxiliary subsystem. But that will bring it right back on. Okay, duty officers.
Before we start on that, I do want to throw
Yes.
out that conductive RCS with resist all is running about 12 million EC on the exchange.
Okay.
With ultra rare.
Okay. And that's a hell of a lot less than the EPG, EPS.
Or EPG.
Or EPG. But then the EPS one.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, duty officer. So we got extra threat generation with attack pattern delta. 3 of those. I have no problem with that. He's trying to tank. He wants to generate threat. That's awesome. Alright. So we have 3 maintenance engineers to go with that. Thoughts? I know we were talking about this before we started recording.
Well, apparently I missed that conversation.
Well, and you were saying something about a ZMOC?
Yeah, just replacing one of the maintenance engineers with a ZMOC.
Okay. And ZMOC is a...
Very expensive, Doff.
ZMOC is a con officer. And... charge evasive maneuvers, perception... recharges... Hey, come on, where's my... I'm not seeing it.
I don't think it's on the,
Yeah, it's not listed as an ability here. We got chance to recharge, chance to reduce the recharge time for evasive maneuvers, tactical team and buff. Oh, there it is. For some reason I didn't see it the first time through. Okay. So we got one of the recharge time reduced for attack pattern beta, delta, and omega. And that is a huge thing because attack pattern delta does have a very long cooldown time. Alright. And I believe that's the only change we discussed for the duty officer. Any other thoughts? Steve, Vane?
I really know.
Yeah.
Really no, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problems with 2 maintenance engineers, the 3 security officers, because that's really going to help them with this threat generation. And then the con officer there to help them with cooling down the cooling down the attack patterns. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Alright, skill tree. So I know we had some discussion about this. Okay. The impulse energy shunt, let's start with the lieutenant commander here. Level the impulse energy shunt, I don't really see that much of a need for. Usually, especially in ISA, you're going for short bursts with full impulse. It's not going to be that much of a deal. Now the Control X, I can see what he was doing. He was trying to build up the control on the gravity well. But it's really not all that needed. I would rather see those points go into Drain X for the Plasmonic Leech. But you really don't need, because it doesn't do anything with the leech, you really don't need the Drain Infection.
No.
And yeah. And then of course, as we've discussed, accuracy, not really an issue. So that leaves us with 3 points. I would put those 3 points into hull penetration. Are we agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay. And then Steve, you were mentioning something about the admiral level, the warp.
Yeah, he's
Warp
got
core
a point
potential.
in improved warp core potential. Now, are we trying to keep Psi Ultimate on this?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the agreement. Because we don't have a problem with Psi Ultimate.
Nope. Although I will admit I am currently playing around with Attack Ultimate right now.
It's
and
interesting.
it's not working out.
Okay. So it does give a +2 to all subsystem power. But as an engineer, does he really need that? Because as an engineer, he does have power out the wazoo with the 2 engineer abilities, the EPS power transfer and the Nadion inversion.
And you're talking about the improved warp core potential, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, you still want to have some power levels, regardless. I know you guys put the 3 points in pen. That really limits his engineering abilities to help with his tanking.
Okay.
Especially since he's running the Psi ult. So, I mean, I personally wouldn't put 3 points in hull pen. I mean, I'm running a build that has no hull pen points in it. That's pretty close to this. I'm running the Psi ult. And you know what? I pulled 116k the other night and 63% of the threat. So, just putting all the points in hull pen really limits tankiness that you get from some of these engineering abilities.
So
Guys'
would you
thoughts?
say 2 points or?
I mean, you could probably get away with 1 in hull pen.
Okay. So then, because he has 3 points in the hull plating.
Yeah, I've got
So.
I left 1 point in that for him, just the hull plating, and pulled the other 2 out.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's just, difficult.
Yes, I know. So then you're thinking, what, lieutenant level skills or?
Yeah, like I was thinking putting a point in restoration and hull capacity, 1 point in each. Obviously keeping his EPS system and improved EPS flow, point in each of those. Keeping the hull plating 1 point, and then keeping his warp core potential, his warp core efficiency, and with 1 point in hull pen, that leaves 2 points that I have to put someplace.
I'm seeing 3 right now, with 1 each in hull capacity and hull restoration.
You have 27 in science.
Oh, okay. So where would you put the extra science?
Well, I've got.
Back in drain infection or 1 in control?
Well, yeah, I just put 1 in control. So, That gave him his 27, so he's got his Psi Ultimate.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I guess put the other two in offensive and defensive subsystem tuning.
Okay. So that gives him a bit of extra power. Okay.
I don't know. That's just my thoughts on the skill
What are your
trees.
thoughts on that, Ain?
I have to agree. I mean, I am not really finding an issue.
Okay.
You don't have to agree, but
Well,
should agree.
we could see again. I don't think he really needs the power. Again, engineer.
Okay.
So we could take it out of the power and put, which one does kinetic? Okay. And put it maybe back in a blade, one back in ablative hull plating, and maybe the other in either a hull pen or defensive, because well, the defensive is gonna keep him
Alright.
from getting hit.
Well, we can put it in
Maybe
hull
in
pen.
hull capacity or a hull pen, yeah. Could put it in hull pen, and that would give him just a little extra to hit with. Because that puts his hull penetration at 8.5. Which, hull pen is good. It lowers their resistance. Okay, and that still gives his Psi Ultimate. And that gives him 11 in TAC. And still keeps his... That gives him 8 in engineering.
Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast when you go Psi Ultimate.
Yes,
You
it
gotta
is.
give up stuff in
Yep.
other areas.
And then I would definitely choose, because he is using batteries, I would choose battery expertise for the engineering, because that doubles the length of the batteries. Okay, and then for the side things, I would choose sector space, and transwarp is of course your own choice. I would definitely choose maximum shield capacity and control resistance and subsystem energy drain resistance overall. And then, of course, because you have the option, you can choose all three for the Psi Ultimate, with probability window definitely being the priority, followed by penetration and then probability shell.
Yep.
And then for the tactical, threat control, obviously, because he's trying to gain threat. Projectile critical damage, and that's it.
Good.
Those are the only choices we got. Alright. Now, let's see. Captain and ground. Oh, wait. Hello, specialization. Hello.
Top left, bottom right. Carry a hypo.
Oh, yeah.
Jinx.
Top left, bottom right, carry hypo. Of course, for ground. There we go. Top left, bottom right, carry hypo. And for specialization, of course, he has temporal operative and strategist, which he should be running in threatening stance because he's trying to gain threat. So as long as he's shooting off that ox to structural integrity field every 20 seconds, his skills are actually should be at or close to their global cooldown. Nice to remember, ain't it?
Always.
Yep. So, might be able to later on look at making some of these single abilities instead of doubling up on bridge officer abilities. Okay. And captain and ground. Okay. So let's look at traits he has. Any thought on the personal space traits?
He's running innocuous in the last one, and
He is, yeah.
yeah, shouldn't be running that if you're tanking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
That should not be. If you're tanking, you do not want innocuous because that reduces threat. And he does have, that's kind of odd because he is running imposing presence, so that kind of cancels them out. But he does have fleet coordinator and secret command codes, which is a control effect when you do control effects. So that was running off the gravity well, so
Drop
that's
that.
going to be gone now. Of course, he's got Give Your All. That's perfectly fine. Grace Under Fire. EPS Manifold Efficiency. So he's got this trait causes you your other power levels to gain a boost whenever he hits a battery, any battery. So that's fine. He's looking at the power levels again, finding a way to boost them, which, okay. We could try other things to boost his DPS here.
Yeah.
Instead, which is what I'm thinking. Alright, so I'm thinking definitely he's got Beam Barrage, which means he's got his level up to 15 on the there we go, on the crafting. I would definitely put Beam Training. That'll give him a bit of extra DPS. He's got Fleet Coordinator in there. That's fine. I would put, because he's going for the healing, I'd put Biotech Patch.
And drop what?
Well, he had dropped the shield command or the
Secret command codes.
yeah. And then instead of the innocuous, I would put, we could put Bulkhead Technician or
what about Particle Manipulator for his feedback pulse?
For his feedback pulse, yes. Or if you can get it, the either EPS Overload or the Nadion Nadion Bypass increases energy weapon damage whenever he hits that Nadion immersion. Nadion inversion. English, do I speak it? Which I think that's a very good one for engineers. That'll definitely help with his DPS if he can get the Nadion bypass. Of course, this completely disregards any concern for energy credit because that is quite expensive.
Well,
the
he's
moment,
got
but
quite a few expensive things already
he
on this
does.
build, so I don't know if it'll really affect him that much.
Yeah. So I would put that, and this is, of course, going ideal circumstances. That's the best. So, a cheaper version would be pattern recognition, would be something cheaper he could put in there. And that, where is pattern recognition? Where is it? I know it's here. There it is. Pattern recognition, so while in combat, your ability to defend against enemy starships will gradually improve, represented by an increase in defense and shield hardness, can be stacked up to 4 times. So another option might be point blank shot, increases energy weapon damage the closer you are to the target. Which, if you're trying to draw threat, distance is a factor in that.
It's always a factor.
Yep, and point blank shot is, of course, free. So that is another option if you need a free trait instead of the Nadion bypass. We always like to go with the budget if we can. So yeah, looking at, if you look at these starship traits, with some of them, I mean, he's got all hands on deck. Awesome. Attack pattern delta prime, which is why he's using attack pattern delta, other than the fact that it's good for a threat generating build. He's got supremacy, and he's got
user disconnected from your channel,
and he's got
Weapon cycle.
emergency weapon cycle.
And
Yeah,
battle
so
ready.
And battle ready. Out of these, battle ready is the only one that didn't cost an arm and a leg. So as you can see, money is not really an issue for this guy, just saying. And of course he's got the normal, no, he's got some of the normal. So he's got precision. He's got advanced targeting systems. He's got the 2 Nukara traits. So he's boosting his offense and defense. And then he's got nanoprobe field generator.
Yeah, probably swap that
yeah.
out for an energy refrequencer.
Energy refrequencer, or if you're looking to build your DPS, if you find you have enough resistance, you could put advanced oh my goodness, why can't I remember these things?
Tactical advantage.
Thank you. Tactical advantage. That's what I was thinking. Because tactical advantage, let me find it so you can see it, folks. There it is. Your selected target receives a damage resistance debuff to your attacks based on its current health. This debuff increases as your target's health decreases. This debuff effect activates when the selected target's health is at 50% or less in space combat. So this means as your target gets lower health, your ability to kill him increases. So you'll do more damage. So this is a nice one to do if you need a little bit more DPS. So, and of course, we want to make sure when you're in space, one of these is tricked out to be you want the shield generator, and you want the quantum singularity manipulation. Okay, the shield generator It can help. It does definitely give your shields a chance to regen. Usually we tend to use this at the point where you've got the gate and the tactical cube both up. It does regen your shields very, very quickly, usually faster than they can drain them. Obviously, the Tier 5 Nukara, the Refracting Tetrion Cascade, nice little thing when you've got those, the spheres tightly packed. And the Quantum Singularity Manipulation gives 100 extra to all of your science abilities, all of your science stats for a short time, which is going to make your anti-time entanglement hit that much harder because that is affected by EPG, which is a science stat.
Also, too, that quantum singularity is kind of a nice oh shit button at the same time.
It is.
So you notice if you're getting kind of low and your heals are on cooldown, if you can click that fast enough and disappear, it'll save you for a few seconds.
Yes, it will. 3, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But those 3 seconds are enough time to get a heal off, or, whatever you need to do to help you. Or hit a resistance, or, depending on what you gotta do. So, yeah, those 3 seconds can greatly help. Believe it or not, it's a nice oh shit button. So, alright, any other thoughts, Mr. Steve?
Well, that's
That
pretty
pretty
much all I
much does
got.
it. Alright. So, Ain
Oh, I
had
just
to leave
realized Ain
early.
left us.
Yep, Ain had to leave early. He abandoned us. We're all alone.
It happens.
Yeah. Alright. So, this is the Acerage temporal build, and we're going to go ahead and make the link searchable. Save that. Okay. So we do have a link for you, buddy. And we'll go ahead and get that to him. But, so we have the build link. There we go. Alright. So, we have our build link to send to our victim. No, it was Volinictum. Oh, what was the word I created? Anyway. Victim tier. That's what it was.
Yeah, victim tier. There you go.
Victim tier. To our victim tier. Alright, if you would like to be the next victim tier, just send us your skill build or contact one of the show hosts. You'll see a pop-up in a few minutes that has all of our contact information, or you can send us a email with your skill build or a request for help in building one to Utopia Planitia Show at gmail.com. Again, that will pop up in the next window, or the next for the next few seconds on the video. Any thoughts, Steve? Anything last thing to say, Steve?
Just a public service announcement. If you have any useless items like gawk or snail steaks, please send them to @TeacherKirby in game.
Don't listen to just Steve. At least not for that. Because you send me any gawk, it's going to go back to Steve.
Now
Here's
crossing our fingers for a full house next week.
Yeah. So. We try, folks. We do try. Anyway. Alright, so have a great week. We'll see you later.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.